Boom, 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 boom. Hello. How you doing? How is everybody doing? I hope they're doing alright. God, I need to vacuum. Alright. Everybody doing alright? I hope so. Alright. Okay. Let's get started on reading. Echidna. With some alterations, you gain the horrific ability to clone anything you touch. Clones will typically resemble their source template, but will still be distinctly different. You only have to have touched something once to make clones of them. Things you clone are generally more powerful than their sources, typically healthier and overall better in almost every way. In the case of parahumans, those you clone will typically possess a greater or alternate version of their source's power. You can choose what category they fall in, or leave it entirely up to chance. You can shapeshift into a giant, monstrous new form looking like a gray and red glob. Did you mean to say blob? Shit. No. I guess something like that, I don't know. This form is where you generate the clones and creating them directly inside the glob and releasing them. Your change of form can start incorporating the features of those you cloned, becoming more mobile and powerful over time. Clones will typically possess personalities similar to their sources, but will be innately loyal to you and won't act against you. Your goals or instructions regardless of other factors. Note that this does not exclude them from being tricked or mastered to do so, only that they won't do so willingly. If you're shardless or possess esoteric knowledge, you can choose to make any of your clones shardless as well. Spectral clones required, Fairy Queen or CYOA. You gain the ability to create clones of those you touch as spectral clones instead of going through the tree. Create a full-blown clone. This takes up a slot from Fairy Queen to use. Angroboda. Required cloning. Master. Cloning has been assimilated into this power and greatly enhanced it. Now you are able to sense through any clone you create. Additionally, upon contact with a living being, the clone automatically stores the creature's template, allowing you to use that template to create new clones. Furthermore, you can temporarily grant any clone a base version of your changer state, allowing you to create the clones through them. Should you take any of the upgrades of master cloning, it will also be assimilated. Your power doesn't just create direct clones. Instead, blueprint. Instead, your power allows you to analyze and store the information for anything you touch, which you can then incorporate into anything you work on later. You can still create clones of them at will. This allows you to perform acts such as incorporating the powers of a parahuman into someone else, creating exact clones of someone acceptable to yourself, to even creating the equivalent of possible children of templates you have had the opportunity to touch. This also allows you to generate clones without turning into your changed form, simply needing to touch biological material to affect it as you would with Panacea. On the flip side, your changed form can also be used to generate new things wholesale for your biokinetic abilities, allowing you to create things directly out of the glob. This allows you to incorporate the features of all that you would have normally just cloned into anything you were. Instant creation required Panacea, Oberon, Fairy Queen. Your ability to summon shades of elf flame allows you to forego the traditional method of creating a clone. Instead, you can now sacrifice a slot to immediately make a creation with the features you want. The slot will regenerate after 1 hour. Shroud. You can become... I'm sorry, Sonic with the gun just completely throws me off, okay? Shadow, yeah, I get it, but Sonic? Shroud. You can become completely undetectable both from a conventional and parahuman standpoint. This power comes from an endeavor to refine and specialize a cloak shard towards survivorship through imperceptibility from other entities, while being a combination of different stranger shards into one, being selectively customizable to your needs or concern. This can vary according to one's environment and opposition. From a standard perspective, anyone is unable to perceive or recognize you in any shape or form. On a physical aspect, your power shrouds you off the electromagnetic spectrum, turning translucently invisible, subtly canceling vibrations in your vicinity, turning you inaudible, masking your scent to blend with the environment, dispersing your temperature signature, retroactively modifying any existent records or media as if you never appeared. Your physical presence is essentially muted to the point of turning you selectively intangible. Mental aspects such as using sorry, my mouth kind of hurts when I talk. Tensions or actions. This can be used offensively for surprise and unperceivable attacks in combat situation. From a parahuman perspective, thinker powers enhancing and expanding the sensorial intellectual range find themselves struck out from the powers concealment effect. You know what? I'm not gonna read any unless, it's interesting to me. This is more of archival purposes, I guess, right now. Cause my mouth is really bothering me right now. Look that up. Hmm. That's wrong. Rival. You are the enemy of all, for you become stronger the more opponents you have. This happens with your power adding to the capabilities of everything that is opposing you, or that is within 10 meters of yourself. If your opponents can do something, so can you. Intellect, biotinker augmentation, stamina powers, visualization, multitasking, teleportation through Tinker Tech, and much more are yours to have. Mundane physical capabilities will only come from the one who has them the most, while mental and abnormal, compared to the average humans, capabilities will come from everyone. The same applies to equipment. Strength, speed, and stamina are an example of the first, while skills, knowledge, and powers are an example of the second. If an opponent's physical capabilities weaken compared to others, you'll draw from the next most capable opponent. For example, if you fought a mob of mooks and their leader's stamina dropped significantly, you'd start absorbing the stamina of the mook who had the most. And if you faced someone with a gun, you'd find yourself able to shoot bullets at the same rate as them, whether from your fingers, palm, or thin air. However, all these capabilities vanish the moment opponents stop opposing you and move out of your range. It's pretty cool. Trump, jailbreak. You gain the ability to access and control the abilities of others and yourself in a broad and precise manner. This will allow you to remove restrictions, enhance abilities, alter them in broad strokes, and more. However, this comes with inherent risks, ones that must be carefully managed lest it kill its wielder, and more importantly, you. The power works through touch and line of sight. The power works through three major methods: power amplification, aspect confusion, and category expansion. Power amplification is the simplest method through which you simply amplify the power's existing aspects. For example, a telekinetic would be able to generate significantly more force and or possess much more fine control. Category expansion allows you to add additional capabilities to the power expression directly, allowing it to manifest new features. For an example, by adding a master component to a pyrokinetic power, it could allow the user to create sentient fire constructs. Aspect Infusion adds new aspects to the theme of power, creating a new dimension to the overall power. For example, by adding an aspect of weakening to a trump focused on amplifying others, it could allow them to instead directly attack others by stripping them of strength instead of enhancing them. This can also be used to remove specific limitations, such as the Manton limit. These alterations can only be chosen in a broad manner: how many times it affects someone, how potent the effects are, and what categories and aspects are added, but the specifics on how these amplifications manifest are uncontrollable. Each magnification carries inherent risks that escalate with proximity of each successive alteration. For power amplification, a quintupling of the power's potency can be considered enough to hit the end requirements of the first phase, with the multiplier's maximum to hit the next phase doubling for each additional phase. The first phase, the initial alteration, will typically result in no alteration to the mechanics of the powers. For the second phase, trigger happy, the power will start to activate on its own at times. This can lead to unforeseen and potentially disastrous consequences. There aren't many things one can say to explain why while in their civilian identity, their heat vision activated all of a sudden and eviscerated a swath of innocents. For the third phase, instinct erosion, normally instinctive control over powers is lost. The user will need conscious effort to perform actions that were once reflexive. Brute powers that enhance your strength may have you accidentally ripping the arm off of someone you tried to shake the hand of, and powers that require a high degree of precision will be a nightmare to deal with. For the fourth phase, protection nullification, inherent safeguards are stripped away. This greatly increases the risk of self-harm or unintended consequences in the environment. This can result in your own power burning you, cutting you, potentially backfiring in a permanently damaging, if not lethal manner. For the fifth phase, vital surge results in the powers becoming incredibly volatile, risking catastrophic failure and complete loss of control. 1 progresses through each phase for each successive alteration within 3 months of the previous one, and will drop to the previous phase if one manages to avoid further alterations within 3 months. Each phase also doubles the power's potency without counting towards the phase alteration threshold. This increase in power is permanent. The 5th phase, volatile surge, is repeated for each subsequent alteration after the 5th if it fails within the 3-month period. If it falls within the 3-month period, becoming increasingly unstable and chaotic the more alterations there are. The effects of each phase, except for volatile surge, can be partially mitigated with rigorous and focused training, but only by managing to get to a lower phase or out of the phase can the drawbacks be completely eliminated. If one manages to drop to a lower phase or out of the phase entirely, you can improve upon their power again in the same manner, allowing you to continuously improve their abilities. Be warned, however, that shard powers can be burned out by this, as the shard will need to reveal more and more power to its host and potentially burn an incredible amount of energy to create new features. This drawback is removed if you are Negentropic shardless, and will allow you to use your own energy source to make their improvements and or share the secret to neg entropy with their power source if you wish. That's pretty cool. I think I'm just maybe gonna do this for an hour, just because honestly, I'm not feeling it. Nobody really watches this anyway, so this is mainly for me anyway. Mm, these are cool. It's just I'm tired. Excuse me. Hmm. Hmm. To the inhabitants of Earthbed, you have been given perhaps the most terrifying power to exist, the one power to create Endbringers. However, while you possess the power to create Endbringers, the power is not quite as potent as its most notable user. Thus, you have been given the ability to create completely loyal monsters that start weaker than their brothers and sisters. Each Endbringer you create will start with a core and enough spatial and dimensional folding energy to create the standard folding spatial flesh that all Endbringers use to protect their cores. These weaker Endbringers will start with roughly 30 SP worth of power and can handle a couple of strikes from their fully grown brothers and sisters, but not much more. They will then improve over time, growing bigger and stronger, more durable, at the rate of roughly 1 SP a month until they are fully grown and can match the strength of Behemoth and Leviathan, roughly 60 SP. You have complete control over the abilities they spawn with and how they will evolve over time. A fully grown Endbringer may be given any group of shard-based powers that total X 60 SP. That is not a power-granting or power-growing ability. Any powers selected can be scaled up or down according to its chosen SP, so long as the total of all powers given to an Endbringer does not exceed 60 SP. Esoteric knowledge allows an Endbringer to be given non-shard based powers. However, the construction of each Endbringer is extremely energy and processing intense, meaning that while you start with an available slot, only one additional or replacement Endbringer can be made every month. Can be reduced to a week with neg entropy, and only 7 can be alive at the same time. Also, if you spawn too many Endbringers in total without neg entropy, you run the risk of completely depleting your shard. 3 times the charm. Required Friendbringers. Your Friendbringers and Endbringer engine have fused and increased your number of starting Endbringers to 3. And your total number of Endbringers to 10. Improved Endbringers required improved friends. Due to the fusion between Friendbringer and Endbringer engine, the final strength of your Endbringers is raised to 80 SP. However, the growth rate is still 1 SP per month. Required Breaker / Trump Chronos. Brute, Typhon, Changer, the End Becomer, Hero Killer, City Killer, or Hope Killer. Your core's innate ability to empower one another has built upon itself, harmonizing and empowering itself. You can now reassign your and your Endbringer's cores as you wish, with each core drastically empowering with the power of the one who possesses it. You can reassign the cores to either yourself or your Endbringers in any combination. You may also choose to fuse cores together, tripling the effect per core, but likewise reducing the amount of cores they have available and making them more vulnerable. An end to all. Required Advent of the End. Required King of the End. Your ability to summon Endbringers has been further enhanced by the sheer scale of energy you now produce through your cores. Now, not only can you freely transfer cores and energy between your Endbringers, but all of your Endbringers are now summoned fully grown. To make matters worse for your enemies, outside of just fusing with your Endbringers, you can now freely transfer abilities of your Endbringers between cores, including your own, allowing you to swap abilities between Endbringers and between Endbringers and yourself should their cores still exist. Be mindful that fusing cores still produces a tripling of energy production, but comes at the cost of reducing the amount of cores that are available and making you and your Endbringers more vulnerable. Intra. You have complete and absolute control of yourself. And I do mean complete down to the molecular level. This grants you a multitude of benefits. One of them being an absolute immunity to outside influences on your body, including master effects, biological manipulation, and even molecular disintegration. This absolute control of your body means that you can fashion yourself into a living weapon. Anything is possible, from making your skin as durable as if it were part of an hamburger, to reinforcing your muscle filaments to be so strong that they could easily contend with the strongest brutes. Rewriting the neural pathways of your brain so that they work better than most thinker-based abilities? By sheer processing power, all of that and more, from growing wings to transmuting your blood properties to be as or even far more toxic than even the greatest Tinker Tech poisons. Speaking of which, you now also possess the ability to completely heal yourself through consciously closing wounds are if you ever are injured. But that pales in comparison to your ultimate ability, the capability to make additional corona potentias. Now, on its own, there's nothing to gawk about. Then again, your command over your body allows you to flood the potentia with the stress hormones that a shard would normally use for crisis points and establish connections, allowing you to gain more powers from different shards. And even direct it so you gain specific power classifications, Sacred, Master, Blaster, among others. There's a limit to how much power you can gain before they start to negatively affect you, being around 3 to 5. However, you can also easily get rid of a power by simply removing the gamma and potentia responsible for said power. Note, your absolute control over yourself renders attacks such as stealing nearly completely useless. However, less esoteric attacks are completely effective. Also, your bodily functions, circulatory, respiratory, lymphatic, etc., still need to be maintained for you to stay alive. Despite that, you can do it manually or change the way they function freely. Breaker, Trump, miraculous. This is strangely familiar. Perhaps you were obsessed with a certain show before you triggered. You have a breaker state that augments your body and gives you access to a suite of powers tied to concepts. The breaker state changes your clothing and appearance, though the clothing can only be what can be made in a mundane manner, and the appearance change is limited to minor alterations. You can only change the default appearance of your breaker state when you aren't in it. Living beings can't connect your breaker state appearance with your normal appearance, even if they were extremely similar or hid nothing. The body augmentation consists of an increase in strength and durability enough to carry easily and tank being hit by a car. Greater sight, smell, and hearing equal to cats and dogs, and an increase of reflex agility and flexibility. These power tied to the concepts are the default, but you can change them for new ones as long as they aren't stronger than the default and are still tied to their concept. The switch will take 5 minutes to take effect, whether you are changing the powers to another or bringing them back to their default. You can only safely use 6 of these powers at a time. The more you go over 6, the greater the strain upon your body. You could straight up die by using all 20 at the same time. Switching takes 10 seconds to take effect. Destruction. Cataclysm allows you to destroy anything through touch. The destruction starts at the point of contact and spreads up to 1 meter. You can control the spread to a certain extent, like making it slower, stopping it at certain points to going the full 1 meter, shaping the spread, selecting what is being destroyed, or even changing how it is being destroyed. Creation. Lucky Charm. Creates what you need to achieve a desired outcome, being limited to the mundane and non-living. Whatever is made will have a red-black color scheme. You are limited to having one creation at a time. Trying to summon a new creation will just change the existing creation to a new one. The creation appears either in your hands or close to you. Power nullifiers can unmake those creations. Transmission Kamiko allows you to create and control butterflies that are able to possess objects. By possessing an object someone is in contact with, you can telepathically communicate with them, and if they agree, you can alter their clothing in a major way and their appearance in a minor way. And either give them copies of your powers, the strength of your powers, or a mix of both. With the exception of the telepathy, you can only do this to a single target at a time. Emotion sentient being allows you to sense emotions and turn an object someone has an emotional connection with into a projection that embodies whatever emotions and desires they have ever felt. The power and appearance are based on desires, and emotion is used in the making of the projection. The powers can only add up to 15 SP. Only one of the projections can... sorry, hold on. I'm just going to read it silently. Alright, we're moving on. Sorry, I made a sandwich. Oh, she's upstairs.
I need a new spanner.
Nova? No problem. Electrical kill.
So, I locked some of my stuff in a safe to keep it out of Deadlift's hands. Now that he's dead, you're going to open the safe for me. Here, follow me. Just open this chest and you'll have yourself a Nova Shield. Unfortunately, I forgot the combo to my safe, so you're just going to have to open it up the fun way. That shield will be your lockpick. Looking for work? I got something for you. Know much about lasers? There's a light reactor stuffed in a building nearby that I can sell for a good chunk of moonstones. If you get it for me, I can give you one of my spare laser weapons. I just gave you a prod gun. You'll need to piss off some Kragans with it.
Hi, new best friend. I'm from the Toy Corporation, and I'm super duper pissed that laser guns exist. They're made of light, which doesn't even explode.
Sorry, sort of, Jack. I'm babbling. Haven't talked to anyone other than Deadlift in weeks. And he's dumb.
No, it's cool. I was only half listening anyway.
Hold on. F4. Sorry. Alt F4. Yeah, there we go. I hate how all the dialogue skips over each other if you go too fast. That's annoying. Well, damn it.
I hate Kragans.
Well, they killed your girlfriend or partner or whatever. Right? Or sister? I don't remember.
Only a bloody idiot would pass up a moon zoomie vehicle. Are you a bloody idiot? Are you?
Warning, 0 atmosphere environment.
Be careful near the Kragans. They appeared after Dahl started mining the planet, and one of them nearly killed me a couple of months ago. Gave me a sexy scar on my stomach. Sorry, sort of, Jack. I'm babbling. Haven't talked to anyone other than Deadlift in weeks. And he's dumb.
No, it's cool. I was only half listening anyway.
You've made it! The building with the light reactor should be nearby. Get inside. All right. That's why I gave you the prod gun. Blast the Kragans with it. They'll get angry and charge you. If you can lure them into the rubbish, they'll smash an opening for you. Still holding. Get him to ram it again. get inside and yoink the light reactor.
I think next time I'm gonna play as Wilhelm, just because.
Bonza! Now bring it back to me and I'll trade you a laser gun.
Or you could destroy it for me and get a cool toy gun. Why? Because I resent laser guns and I'm super good at holding grudges. It's a serious personality problem. Just drop the light reactor into some lava.
Oh, I kind of feel sorry for the big bag of muscles. You can get the reactor to me or destroy it for Torg. I'll still like it either way.
Raspberry meringue. Might as well.
Right there! Drop it into the lava! This is taking a really long time! I hate things I do not understand!
Let's get it.
Woo! 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 Suck it, science! Vault Hunter, I'll send you a thing! Go get it!
Ah, shame. Still, at least you made the muscly guy happy. I call that a net gain.
Did that save, or it probably did? Fuck. The stream sucks, and it's my fault. I'm sorry. Fuck. Damn it. Alright. Boo, 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 boo. Bullets shouldn't even work in space, right? Oh. Oh man, I missed that.
buddy.
Raspberry meringue. We're not far. Oh, well, she.
You'll need that shield to break into the safe and re-steal the goodies. Just trust me.
Alright, I'm gonna end it here because I can't do it right now. Alright. Bye bye. Sorry.